Alright, this is Numbers 26 in the Prager Rational Bible. Let's begin. Verse 1. The Lord spoke to Moses and to Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest. Take a census of the whole Israelite community from the age of 20 years up by their ancestral houses, all Israelites able to bear arms. So with the death of Aaron in Numbers 20:28, Eleazar was now the high priest, Aaron's son. And despite his stature, God never addressed Eleazar either directly or alone. God always spoke to him with or through Moses. And censuses in the ancient world were generally conducted to determine the number of men available to serve in the army, and thus only the Israelite men at the age of military service were counted, 20 years old and up. So the first Israelite census, that is the census of the generation that left Egypt, of course, was talked about in Numbers 1. That first generation of Israelites at or over the age of 20 died out. In these 38 to 40 years in the wilderness. So now this is the census of the second generation who would go into the promised land. So Moses and Eleazar the priest on the steeps of Moab at the Jordan near Jericho gave instructions about them, namely those from 20 years up, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The descendants of the Israelites who came out of Egypt were, and then you start getting into the different tribes. So the Torah will now list the names of the leaders of each of the tribes and the number of males of military age. While almost none of these names mean anything to us, they definitely were known to the contemporary readers. And as I have noted elsewhere, the Torah has the Herculean task of being completely relevant to readers 3,000 years ago and also to readers today. Because it's God's living word. Ronald Allen offers an additional reason to the listing of these the listing of these names were important in ancient Israel. So he said, these names would be important for the nation later in the land, as people would wish to be able to trace with certainty their ancestry for purposes of tribal inheritance. Okay. Alright, so again, the descendants of the Israelites who came out of the land of Egypt were, starting with Reuben, Israel's firstborn, Jacob's firstborn, descendants of Reuben, of Enoch, the clan of the Enochites, and of Palu, the clan of the Paluites, and of Hezron, the clan of the Hezronites, and of Carmi, the clan of the Carmites. And these are the clans of the Reubenites. The persons enrolled came to 43,730. So according to Allen, possibly the slight reduction of the families of Reuben, which the first time it was 46,500 in Numbers 1. So probably maybe this reduction was probably brought about by the judgment on their members during the rebellion of Korah and his Reubenite allies in Numbers 16. In the intervening years, the family of Reuben had nearly caught up with its former numbers. Verse 8, born to Palu, Eliab, and the sons of Eliab were Nemuel, Dathan and Abiram. These are the same Dathan and Abiram chosen in the assembly who agitated against Moses and Aaron as a part of Korah's band when they agitated against the Lord. Whereupon the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with Korah, with that band. And when that band died, when the fire consumed 250 men, and they became an example. But the sons of Korah, however, did not die. So Dathan and Abiram, in connection with Korah, led the great rebellion again in Numbers 16 against Moses. As punishment, the earth opened and swallowed them alive. And in this verse, we're told for the first time that Dathan and Abiram had an older brother, Nemuel. And since Nemuel was not mentioned earlier, we can assume that he was not involved in the Korah rebellion. And Nemuel represents the capacity of people to rise above environment, genetics, and parental influence and make their own choices for good, as in the case of Nemuel, or for bad, as in the cases of Dathan and Abiram. And although Korah was the leader in the rebellion against Moses, his sons were not punished. In fact, Korah's descendants went on to write many of the Psalms that were later recited in the temple, and which became part of the book of Psalms, and an important part of the synagogue liturgy. Oh yeah, some of the Psalms that say in right below the chapter number, the sons of Korah. Well, there you go. And the titles of Psalm 42, oh yeah, it has the deer pants. Why you downcast, O my soul, that one. And 44 through 49, 84, 85, 87, 88. Those the titles of those psalms attribute them to the sons of Korah. Korah's children were not only not punished, but they were actually honored in the Bible. In fact, it is a tenet of the Torah that the children are not to be held accountable for the sins of their parents. And it's enshrined in the Torah law that forbids punishing a child for a parent's sins. Deuteronomy 24:16. And the Bible later notes that the Bible notes later that the prophet Samuel was a direct descendant of Korah. That's a startling fact later on that's mentioned. Yeah. There's a little footnote number there. Let's see what it's... Yeah, it's a footnote where it mentions that fact. 1 Chronicles 6, 7 through 13. Alright, verse 12. So descendants of Simeon by their clans, of Nemuel, probably a different Nemuel, the clan of the Nemuelites, of Jamin, the clan of the Geminites, and of Jachin, the clan of the Jechonites, and of Zerah, the clan of the Zerahites, and of Saul, the clan of the Saulites. And these are the clans of the Simeonites, men enrolled 22,200. Yeah, this little section, the decline of the Simeonites. So, why was there such a great decline? So in the preceding chapter, the one Israelite identified having engaged in sexual relations with the Midianite woman was a guy named Zimri, who was a prince of the tribe of Simeon. And given Zimri's prominence, we could assume that members of the tribe of Simeon were disproportionately represented among the Israelites who sinned with the Midianite women, and therefore overrepresented among the 24,000 Israelites who died in that plague in the previous chapter. And this assumption is confirmed in the light of the smaller number of the Simeonites in the census, 22,200, than in the census 40 years earlier of the Simeonites, which was 59,300. So yeah, probably that decline, that probably could be a good argument that, yeah, a lot of the Simeonite men probably died in that plague in Numbers 25. So, yeah, because that's like way over 30,000 lost. I mean, that's a lot over that period, 40-year period, but probably especially in that incident previously. But nevertheless, that still does not account for the decline of the Simeonite population, which was, which overall was 37,100. Yeah. Yeah, 37,100. Yeah. 59,300 minus 37,100, you get 22,200. So yeah, that's how many were lost with the Simeonites men ultimately when doing the census. Yeah, not 24,000. If all 24,000 Israelites who died in the plague were from the tribe of Simeonites, the Simeonites declined by 37,100, not 24,000. So how can you explain this? And with the same answer given by Rashi, the most revered Jewish Torah commentator, when he was unable to resolve a difficulty in the Torah, he said, I don't know. Yeah. So, I don't know. Or maybe not all the Simeonites died in that plague in Numbers 25. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. So, I mean, I don't think all of them did. Yeah, but they lost more. But the Simeonites, when it comes to the fighting men, yeah, over the 40-year period and after that incident, I mean, they lost much more than 24,000. So anyway. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some other explanations, but yeah, probably a good chunk of them died in the plague in Numbers 25. Yeah, but I don't know. It could have been some other things too. Yeah. So. All right. Well, anyway, moving on. All right. Now you get to the descendants of the tribe of Gad. Yeah. The descendants of Gad by their clans, and of Zephon, the clan of the Zephonites, and of Haggai, the clan of the Haggites, and of Shuni, the clan of the Shunites, and of Ozni, the clan of the Oznites, and of Eri, or Eri, the clan of the Erites, and of Arad, the clan of the Aradites, and of Areli, the clan of the Arelites, I guess. These are the clans of Gad's descendants, persons enrolled, 40,500. Born to Judah, and Onan died in the land of Canaan. So this is referring to an episode in Genesis 38 where Judah's firstborn, who was married to a woman named Tamar, died because he committed some unspecified but serious sin. And the practice at the time was that whenever a man died childless, his brother married his widow, so that the first child of their union would be counted as the seed of the deceased brother. And so Judah married off his second son, Onan, to Tamar, but Onan, knowing that the seed would not count as his, refused to consummate the act of intercourse with Tamar so that she would never give birth to a child. And then God took his life as well. And then, of course, Judah had another son, but he had Tamar wait for him. And then Judah went to, I think, go find her, but then she saw him and she pretended to be a prostitute, and Judah slept with Tamar, but he didn't know it was her. Yeah, and she got pregnant. Judah found out about it, and he, threatened to put her to death. But then she came and she presented the things that Judah gave her. Yeah, and of course, again, didn't realize it was actually her. And then he saw that. He's like, oh man, you're more righteous than I am. Oh man. Yeah, and then she had the two sons. I think one of them was called Zurah and the other Perez. And then, and I guess Perez would have been the firstborn or something. But then I think Zurah gets born first, and then Perez comes out, or it could be the other way around. So I don't know. But anyway, but the point is, ultimately, it starts developing really with that episode in Genesis 38. Yeah, you end up starting to get the messianic line, since, Jesus is a descendant of the tribe of Judah. All right, now continue with the numbering of the men of Judah here. So, descendants of Judah by their clans: of Shelah, the clan of the Shilonites, and of Perez, his son. The clan of the Pezerites, and of Zerah, the clan of the Zerahites. The descendants of Perez, of Hezron, the clan of the Hezronites, and of Hamul, the clan of the Hamulites. These are the clans of Judah. Persons enrolled 76,500. Wow. Huge. And even in the desert, Judah was already emerging as the largest tribe, and remained the largest tribe, both in its numbers and its geographical size, throughout the Jewish people's years in the land of Judah. And then, of course, it would become the southern kingdom of Judah whenever Israel would split into two kingdoms. And after the defeat and the disappearance of the 10 lost tribes of Israel, that would fall to the Assyrians, the northern kingdom. The remaining Jewish kingdom was known as Judea. The very name of the Jews, Yahudim, however, it's based on the name of the tribe, Yehudah, or whatever. So you get the name Jews from, Judah, And descendants of Issachar by their clans: of Tola, the clan of the Tolaites, and of Puvah, the clan of the Punites, and of Joshub, or Joshub, however you say that, the clan of the Joshubites, and of Shimron, the clan of the Shimronites. And these are the clans of Issachar. Persons enrolled 64,300. Descendants of Zebulun by their clans: of Sirad, the clan of the Siradites, and of Elon, the clan of the Elonites, and of Jaliel, the clan of the Jalielites. And these are the clans of the Zebulunites. Persons enrolled 60,500. The sons of Joseph were Manasseh and Ephraim by their clans. Descendants of Manasseh: of Machir, the clan of the Mecharites, and Machir begot Gilead, and of Gilead the Gileadites. And these were the descendants of Gilead: of Izir, the clan of the Izirites, and of Helek, the clan of the Helekites, and of Azriel, the clan of the Azrielites, and of Shechem, the clan of the Shechemites, and of Shemida, the clan of the Shemidaites, and of Hepher, the clan of the Hepherites. All right. Now Zelophehad, son of Hepher, had no sons, only daughters. The names of Zelophehad's daughters were Mala, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah. Zelophehad's daughters are the central characters, and one might say the heroes of the next chapter, chapter 27. They are deemed so significant that the names of all 5 sisters are recorded 3 times here, in Numbers 27:1 and also Numbers 36:11. These are the clans of Manasseh, persons enrolled 52,700. So the tribe of Manasseh grew percentage-wise more than any other tribe, and there's no reason given. 35. These are the descendants of Ephraim by their clans, of Shaluthalah, the clan of the Shaluthahites, the Shaluthahites, however you say that, of Becher, the clan of the Becherites, and of Tahan, the clan of the Tahanites. And these are the descendants of Shaluthaha, of Shuthalah. Sorry, Shuthalah. There you go. Of the Shuthalahites. That's how you say it. There you go. And of Iran, the clan of the Iranites. And these are the clans of Ephraim's descendants, persons enrolled 32,500. These are the descendants of Joseph by their clans. The descendants of Benjamin by their clans, of Bela, the clan of the Beelites, and of Ashbel, the clan of the Ashbelites, and of Ahiram, the clan of the Ahiramites, and of Shephuhim, the clan of the Shephamites, there you go, and of Huphim, the clan of the Huphamites. And these are the sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman, and of Ard the clan of the Ardites, and of Naaman the clan of the Naamanites. And these are the descendants of Benjamin by their clans, persons enrolled 45,600. These are the descendants of Dan by their clans, of Shuam, the clan of the Shuamites. These are the descendants of Dan by their clans, and all of the clans of the Shuamites, persons enrolled 64,400. The descendants of Asher by their clans, of Imnah, the clan of the Imnites, and of Ishvi, the clan of the Ishvites, and of Beriah, the clan of the Beriites. And of the descendants of Beriah, of Heber, the clan of the Heberites, and of Malachiel, the clan of the Malachelites. The name of Asher's daughter was Serah. Serah, the daughter of Asher, the granddaughter of Jacob, was earlier mentioned in the list of the family members who accompanied Jacob to Egypt in Genesis 46:17. And other than the daughters of Zelophehad, Serah is the only woman named in the census. The Torah does not explain why it gives her this special attention. Rashi, however, cites the Talmud's explanation: because she has still remained alive after all these long years. Because of that, it exceptionally mentions her here. Okay. These are the clans of Asher's descendants, persons enrolled 53,400. And the descendants of Naphtali by their clans of Jaziel, the clan of the Jazielites, and of Guni, the clan of the Gunites, and of Jezer, the clan of the Jezerites, and of Shillem, the clan of the Shillemites. And these are the clans of the Naphtalites. Clan by clan, persons enrolled, 45,400. This is the enrollment of the Israelites, 601,730. For a discussion of a likely solution to the problem of the exceedingly large number of Israelites, you can take a look at that essay in Numbers 1, the problem of the number of Israelites in the Torah. And I think I remember the number actually could be exaggerated, but anyway. But the number of Israelites, 601,730, is virtually identical to the number of Israelites listed in the first census, 37 years earlier, 603,550. It is utterly remarkable, and Ronald Allen says this, that the total number has remained nearly unchanged even throughout, though the people had lived under the most trying conditions for a period of 38 years. There had been deaths of all of those who were over the age of 30 at the time of the rebellion at Kadesh, Numbers 13, 14. There had been numerous judgments of God that have come upon the people because of that rebellion and others. Then there was the harsh reality of living out life in the desert of Sinai. And given all of these factors, the birth rate was not just equal, but prolific. Although there was a little bit of a loss, but, not a whole lot. Just a little less than, 2,000. And then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Among these shall the land be apportioned as shares, according to the listed names, with larger groups increase the share, with smaller groups reduce their share. Each is to be assigned its share according to its enrollment. The land, moreover, is to be apportioned by lot, and the allotment shall be made according to the listings of their ancestral tribes. And each portion shall be assigned by lot, whether for larger groups or smaller groups. And according to this verse, the land was divided by lottery. Yet according to verse 54, the land was apportioned according to the size of each tribe. And so, of course, Judah would get the largest. And Milgram reconciles this apparent contradiction by explaining that the location of each tribe's territory was determined by lottery, but the size of each territory was a function of the tribe's census count. All right, 57. This is the enrollment of the Levites by their clans of Gershon, the clan of the Gershonites, and of Kohath, the clan of the Kohathites, and of Merari, the clan of the Merarites. And these are the clans of Levi, the clan of the Libnites, the clan of the Hebronites, the clan of the Maulites, the clan of the Mushites, the clan of the Korahites. Kohath begot Amram, and the name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, daughter of Levi, who was born to Levi in Egypt, and she born to Amram, Aaron, and Moses, and their sister Miriam. Though Moses was far more accomplished than his brother Aaron, Aaron is listed first because he has never denied his status as the firstborn male, a status that is esteemed throughout history. And Miriam was the firstborn of the 3 children, but she's not listed first because the Torah either felt it necessary to speak in the patriarchal language of the time and of nearly all time until the contemporary age, or holds the patriarchal ideal. And I believe both are true, and at the same time, the Torah describes Miriam as a prophet in Exodus 15. And it's an appellation the Torah only applies to two other Jews, Abraham and Moses. Patriarchy does not mean inequality. All right, here's another little footnote. Oops. Another footnote. So Aaron is described here as Navi, which is the Hebrew word almost always translated as prophet. In Exodus 7 verse 1, but there it means spokesman, which is what the word actually means, and not prophet. Okay. All right. So the issue of women's equality in the Torah is discussed in the essays. Well, here's in the essay in the next chapter, 27, Moral Evolution or Immoral Revolution. All right. To Aaron were born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. Now Moses' sons are not mentioned in this chapter, and the Torah barely mentions them at all, and we can only guess as to why. Presumably there was nothing to distinguish them worthy of the mention, whether good or bad. And Nadab and Abihu died when they offered alien fire before the Lord. They were killed when they infringed upon the sanctity of the tabernacle, Leviticus 10. And their enrollment of 23,000 comprised all the males from a month up, and they were not part of the regular enrollment of the Israelites, since no share was assigned to them among the Israelites. As noted, the Levites are listed separately from the other tribes because they had a special divinely appointed role, serving the priests in the tabernacle, and as a result they were not entitled to a share of the land, and they did not serve in the army. And they were counted because it was necessary to have an accurate count of those who worked in the tabernacle. However, because the Levites did not serve in the army, they were not counted for the age of military service, but from the age of 1 month. They would have likely been counted from birth were it not for the high infant mortality rate in the ancient times. Life started, as it were, from the age of 1 month. And according to later Jewish law, mourning is not observed for a child who dies before the age of 1 month. However, in more recent years, as the number of deaths of infants is less than a month have greatly declined, and then the sense of tragedies become more acute, an increasing number of Jews have come to practice religious mourning rites. Even though Jewish law does not require it. Okay. Anyway, these are the persons enrolled by Moses and Eleazar the priest, who registered the Israelites on the steeps of Moab at the Jordan near Jericho. And among these, there was not one of them enrolled by Moses and Aaron the priest when they recorded the Israelites in the wilderness of Sinai. And all of the Israelites who left Egypt, with the exceptions of Joshua and Caleb and Moses, all of the others of that previous generation except those three have all died at this point. So the rest of Numbers deals with the second generation of Israelites, who generally proved to be more faithful and courageous than the first generation. And the book of Joshua records no complaints among the Israelites and a much greater willingness to fight. Yeah, so really this second generation was more righteous and more faithful than the first. So, and verse 65, for the Lord had said of them, they shall die in the wilderness. Not one of them survived except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. And Caleb and Joshua survived because, unlike the 10 other spies, they maintained their faith in God and brought back optimistic reports concerning the Israelites' ability to conquer Canaan. And as a general principle, leaders have to convey optimism in order to do their job well. And as has been observed, pessimists are usually right and optimists are usually wrong, but all the great changes have been accomplished by optimists. And that's a citation from this article from a guy by Thomas Friedman, Optimism in Tough Times, and this was in the New York Times, September 27th, 2005. Okay, well, that's all of chapter 26. Lord willing, I'll get to 27 next time, but until then, may God bless you, and the grace and mercy won by Jesus, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all.